Good morning. It is Wednesday Wellness, and welcome. We are taking a look back at 5 years in connecting with Wednesday Wellness or Wellness Wednesday. Wednesday Wellness is all about checking in and not checking out. Wednesday Wellness is about your well-being. Your being able to, as it is, to see about your feelings. And we are asking the question, how are you doing? As you know, we have a brand new number. Toll free, that is. And if you guys are familiar with our 661-503-8993 number, you can keep that number. But we do have a new one for you. And it will be posted. It is 1-888-721-9260. That is our brand new toll-free number. What is it for? For you to use in time that you see a need for that. And we're so happy to have you use that number. We're going to take a look back today at how Wednesday Wellness was formed. Good morning, Trish.
Good morning.
Now, Trish and I unknowingly have been working on our Wednesday Wellness. And today is the day for us to be able to bring it to you. And boy, did we come up with something. Lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to check in to ourselves. Trish, what a very nice job you did on your part of Wednesday Wellness. Want to tell us about it? 5 years and counting, or connecting, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Wow. As I was going through the old artworks that I did, I was like, wow, I did a lot. So it was hard to get all of them, but I got all of them, and the videos of me making some of them, and I put it together. I was like, I can't put all of them in one video because it'll be too long.
Yeah.
But I want it to be like something that's like, here's what wellness is, and here's what expressing it through art looks like, and here's how it looks. So I put all the videos on one frame, and I put all my artwork, and I made a poster. And just looking at that, it's like, wow, that's 5 years of artwork and 5 years of working on my personal wellness. And I was like, I was proud of myself to see that, you know what, I was working hard. I still am. So, yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Lo and behold, when I was working on mine today, I was going to post it, and I did. And I came up with, it just jarred my memory. 5 years and counting. Where does it hurt? I'm asking the question now. 5 years and counting. How does it hurt? Because by now, almost a whole year of Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast, you all have been able to discover where it actually hurts. You're able to, with much conversation, fill in the blanks. 5 years and connecting. You're able to verbalize what you need. Remember that one? The flower petals, where each of us wrote something that we needed.
I remember
Yeah.
that one.
You remember that? And some of you wrote patience, while others of you wrote, love, strength, determination, and so forth. And it was interesting because when you were asked to do that, no two expressions of art looked the same. How did we come up with expressions through art? Expressions through art was a form, or is a form, of communication, whether we do it through music, whether we do it through verbiage, whether we do it through role play, any type of communication. Now, how many times have you looked at a picture, a piece of artwork, and you peered into that artwork and you've wondered what's the meaning behind that? A lot of times in the criminal justice system, for little kids that have been traumatized, they draw pictures, or they have them draw pictures. Well, you don't want to hurry and traumatize that child even more, but they will draw pictures of what it is that is a visual in their mind. We're familiar with our children bringing home pictures. They inundate us. Parents, we all know it. And I ask that you still hang them on your refrigerator and even make picture frames of your child's drawing. Kids are very vocal when it comes to their drawing. Maybe you don't know what it is at the time, but they know what it is. So we came up with that, thinking about working on ourselves from childhood to the point that we are adults. And the work over the years, how has it been for you, Trish, when it came to expressions through art, or art through expressions?
It's been very impactful for me because I have trouble communicating my emotions like directly to people. So the art is a good way to just express myself because I do music too, but like I also love drawing and doodling. So I love doing that, and just doing that with my working on my self journey. It's been great and very impactful.
So there you're listening from a very own Trish. For me, I am a vocal person, but I really love the idea of drawing it out. I am an artist by no means. Let me just start saying that. I still, if I can draw a stick figure, I'm doing good. But I am not an artist. But here's the point. Even if you're not an artist by trade, it helped you to be able to vocalize how you feel. You know, for instance, we had a time, and Trish, tell me if you remember this, where I had everybody draw a mask. And when you drew that mask was representation of something that was hidden versus taking the mask off and seeing your real person. You remember that, Trish?
Not right now.
I had everybody remove their mask that day. At first, I had to work on the mask, and then I had to remove it. We all did masks. Why did I have you do that? Because the masquerade of being able to hide yourself, or the masquerade of feeling like if you showed your true self, no one would accept you. You would feel rejection. Everybody came up with different reasons. You know, a lot of people don't want you to know their past, and that's a personal choice. But sometimes in our past, there are things that have quite unwelled us. And if we don't approach it or challenge it to better ourselves, we are going to have a very difficult time getting on a healing journey. How did I help it to grow? I remember a book that was given to me in the most difficult time of my life. And that book, Tricia, if you'll put down the link for Feelings Buried Alive Never Die, that was then introduced because you could see from the person experiencing different emotions and feelings. That book was showing you how you could identify, acknowledge, become aware. And how did you feel about that book, Trish? Remember that book?
Yes, yes, I do. And that book, it was a deep book, very, very deep. It's a very deep book, and I enjoyed reading it. And the thing is, when we were reading it, I was like, I rather us read it together because I know I'm not going to read it all by myself. So I was like, I'd rather us read it together. So we started reading the chapters and things together, and that helped me get into it and things. And then I was so, and I started reading some of it on my own because it was like a hunger for like what's next, what else can I discover about me. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it was with that book.
Would you put the link for that book? Um, 5 years in connecting. That book was the theme of our year. And it took us from childhood all the way up to understanding the adult in us. Because we have to ask ourselves, why are we adults still not understanding how we feel? Why are we adults not understanding where it hurts? I don't know if you remember that assignment. Where does it hurt? When we had a poster of two people, and I wanted you to mark where your pain was. Any physical pain? Do you remember that one?
Yes, I remember that one.
Yeah. How did you feel about that one? And we're, again, looking back 5 years and connecting.
That one actually hit hard because I remember that most of my pointing was at my head and my heart, and it was like a trip down memory lane of where it hurts and the experiences that I had. So that was a very deep one.
Yeah. And for me, it helped me to understand what I needed to work on. Remember when I talked to you guys in some of the earlier years about feeling like a train wreck, and the train would come and I would spiral. And then I told you one time I came to understand when that train was coming, and instead of avoiding it, I understood to take that ride. Remember that? With remembering things, our memory gets jarred, and sometimes we are unaccepting to our own feelings. We demise our own feelings. Unacceptable and demise are very important words. When in reality, we need to give ourselves permission. Permission to do what? To feel the hurt. Because you know what we say? Oh, that doesn't bother us. So my thing is, whenever I'm talking with a client, to ask the client, how are they doing with a certain trauma that they have just addressed? How are they doing, and are they getting help? And what did they do to feel better? That's how you can tell if it doesn't bother them. Because some people masquerade it, or some people avoid it altogether. We're people that, excuse me, see the need to talk about it because it's going to better yourself. Upon watching a program just in the last couple of days, it was a little boy that was a witness to his mother unaliving his little, or bigger sister. I often wondered why the courts had to bring him in to testify. But don't worry, because they answered it. He was a key witness at just the mere age of 7. They asked him if he saw the person in the courtroom. And at 7 years old, he began to break down and answer profusely. Yes. And then they asked him, who was it? Crying profusely, he said that was his mommy. Why am I taking you there? Because remember, childhood. Childhood are our most delicate memories. Sometimes we store away memories. Sometimes we don't even remember what happened to us. And sometimes we choose to sweep it under the rug. Well, that little boy is grown up. But do you think he'll remember the tragedy of that day? Well, only he knows that. Do you think that he has flashbacks from that day? The most beautiful thing that I recognize about that little boy is his ability to still love and miss his mommy. As he got older, he may feel differently because he indeed saw his mommy do that to his bigger sister. Imagine that. Living with that your entire life. And that's what some of us have done. We don't really check into our well-being. Now, some of us may have had childhood memories where they were okay. But Trish said something, and she used the word discovery. Sometimes we discover things that we never knew were there. And I'm saying this because someone needs to hear it today. As many of you who listen, you may need to hear your emotions talking to you. Because we don't forget trauma, tragedy, mishaps, hurtfulness, and all these emotions that make us feel yucky. But here's the thing. As we look back at 5 years and connecting, did you connect your emotions with the experience? You've learned from that. Some of you say, well, I'm never going to do that because that was done to me. While others of you say, wow, I survived that. Yes, it's painful. No one wants to go through pain. That's why we have the chart where does it hurt? Because sometimes pain is not always easy to talk about. I remember asking someone, how did you get that scar? Or perhaps you yourself have remembered to ask somebody about an injury that you've seen. How did it happen? And they tell you their story. You know they don't feel that scar physically anymore, right? But guess what? They will never forget the experience of how they got that scar. And why am I saying that? Because we need to understand the experience and how it connects to how we think, how we feel, how we act. And that's why it's important to talk about it. It's been important for the last 5 years up until present, and we have been connected. When you do the work and you see it on paper, you're able to visualize what it looks like and what it has felt like to you. And I will beg to differ with you that no two experiences are exactly alike. While you may be feeling sadness, sadness may not be for you what it is for someone else. We're all familiar with sadness. We're all familiar with joys. We're all familiar with what it's like to have won and conquered something. But no two story of the experience of the feelings are alike. So what we did, we were able to picturize as we thought about what those emotions look like in art form. And as we picturized what they look like for us, we were able to build in our heads and our hearts what we needed to work. One day it was asked of the group or the class to draw an illusion of what healing looked like. And I remember finding a drawing that best illustrated it to me. It was a butterfly covering a woman. That to me signified healing. In case you're wondering why we're always using butterflies on Wednesday. When you look at a butterfly and the fragility of a butterfly in its wings, do you think about the delicate sense of that creature? Do you think about it weighs very little, but yet that butterfly has flown miles upon miles to reach its destination. And even sometimes the butterfly gets a tear in the wing and is still able to fight against harsh winds. Imagine that as you look at the butterfly. The butterfly represents a transformation of something. And that is the transformation from pain into healing. We all love butterflies. How many of us has chased a butterfly? I remember one morning, as I am the adult that I am now, chasing this butterfly because I wanted to see it up close without touching it. And I was on the phone at the time, and I was talking to someone, and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to get this picture of this butterfly because it was beautiful, yellow and black." And I got close enough to be able to see the butterfly, how delicate it was, and yet I wondered how far it had traveled. And yet it's so fragile. It represents us. And that no matter what storms we have been through, we have overcome and we have ridden against the storm. How many of you have felt like that you've overcome and you've ridden against the storm? You've come through that storm. You see, that's what the fragility of a butterfly means. Before it becomes a butterfly, and I love this subject because that was the very first time I talked about transformation. The butterfly is a caterpillar. It doesn't know that it's going to become a butterfly, right? But it goes through scientifically its process to become that butterfly. And all of the icky and sticky things that it has to come through the cocoon, and it looks not very pleasant as you look at that furry little creature that is about to transform into something beautiful to the eyes. We don't know if that experience of the butterfly has been painful. We don't know. But we're going to take it up a notch because I want you to connect your thoughts with human birth. If you've read anything on human birth, you know that the baby comes into the world and that baby is feeling pain. Why is the baby feeling pain? Because it's got to come through a very, very not so big place. But that place stretches in the female, preparing itself for that baby to enter into the world. Now, when we think about babies' heads, they're not the smallest thing on their body coming through that. But yet that baby is able to grow up and have a transformation to life. They call those the dark places. Going back to the butterfly, they say that it's a dark place that the butterfly has come from. Once that butterfly becomes the butterfly, he never thinks to go back and say, hey, you know what, I changed my mind. I think I should be a caterpillar because I liked that warm, dewy, sticky place. It's transforming and it is ready for its journey. And life is like that for us. It prepares us for our journey. 5 years and connecting from Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast has helped even me as a professional certified life coach. Because you see, transformation for us doesn't look like pain. It may feel like pain, and you may wonder, why does it hurt so bad? Why does it hurt for me to have to think about the ugly in my life? Because to get to the beauty of the life, you have to accept what has made you who you are today. All of the ugly things, all of the challenging things has made you who you are today. And that butterfly, by the way, his journey is healing, even though he has went through awesome strides of wind, torrents, hurricanes, rainstorm, hailstorms. And yet, the butterfly is able to use its wings to travel thousands of miles. You ask yourself, why does it hurt so bad? See, a butterfly doesn't have a brain the way that you and I have a brain. Our power to believe in ourselves, that we are able to find out why it does hurt so bad, we've been connecting that to you or for you, with you doing all the hard work to find out why it does hurt so bad. Not only that, how does it hurt? Where does it hurt? Why? Where did it come from? You see, a butterfly, when you look at the butterfly, it lands on the beautiful tree or the flower. And it's there for a reason. Its transformation is for a reason. So we decided in Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast that we were going to take that butterfly meaning and use it for what? For transformation to from your caterpillar stage into your butterfly wings. I ask that you fly, butterfly, fly. When you came in, you understood how nature works. You understood the process of scientific And I even included, for those of you who think about God, how Jehovah God has made the butterfly for our own likeness or our own desire, for all you butterfly lovers. With that being said, are you not worth more than a butterfly? And here's what I say to you. Why are people always saying when people die that they gain their wings? Why do we have to die and that be connected to gaining our wings? Let's think about this. Because did you know that you could gain your butterfly wings right where you're standing? Remember how I said the butterfly wings can be torn and yet still sustain all the torrent variations of storms and winds? Look it up. Because as you guys know, I've already done the homework, but I need you to do yours. And when you think about that, wow, all that a butterfly has been through, the transformation. In fact, he doesn't even know that he has any torn parts. Some of us remain broken by joy, not knowing that we too can be strong enough to gain our butterfly wings while we're still alive. How many times have you said, I'm strong enough? How many times have you asked God to give you strength? You know the famous thing that we say, God grant us strength. Do you really mean it? Or do you go back to bed, shut the curtains off, and get in that bed and stay for days and weeks? No, we all get depressed. We all feel sad. We all feel grieved. We all feel at times that we can't face another day of life. But I want to guarantee you something. You have butterfly wings as well. Your hands and your feet. We talk about tools that we need to make us well. We talk about tools of empowerment, tools of improvement, tools that make us strong. And it's up to every one of us to find out what tools we need. We even talked about levels of our wounds. Just like that butterfly incurred a tear in its wing. Oh, maybe going through treacherous winds, variations of weather. But it just didn't lay there. It proceeded to go through its journey. And what about you? You say, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts. But you refuse to talk about where it hurts. Not only do some sit there and say it hurts, but they want other people to figure out where that pain is. Why am I telling you all of this? Because that's how Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast Wednesday Wellness came about. Because I took a vow, and the vow was, as a certified life coach, that I would not give you answers. Does that mean I don't care? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that I want you to discover something that I needed to discover. If I wanted to know about me and connect to me, I need to find out information. I can't go to the doctor and say to the doctor, where does it hurt, doctor? How many of you have done that? Said nobody. You go to the doctor and you say, fix this because this is symptomatic of pain. My pain is coming from, and then you are connecting the dots. And that's what we do with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast on getting well. And we're going to talk about the healing journey because I think that that's important in transformation. We ask this question: do you want to get well? How many of you out there want to get well? And you would do anything to have a better day. I just had the flu, and I'm going to tell you from last Friday till today, I had to work on healing myself. And two of those days, I really had to stay in bed because I was just that ill. Today, you ask me how am I doing, and I say to you, much better than the day before. Are we at that stage yet? That we're doing much better than the day before, much better than the months before as we look back 5 years and connect. Where are we? Because if you're not getting better and you've been in Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast or you've heard of it, it should have promoted for you, I want to get well too. Because you do have those butterfly wings. In fact, you probably earned them and not even realized it. Don't shortchange yourself. Earn your butterfly wings while you're still alive. You've been through some things, I'm sure, that if you were to tell your story, you would make us cringe. Because always somebody has been through something worse than myself or the next person. And we all learn from each other. And that's why we say Wednesday Wellness is a check-in time. Check in with yourself. Go back and look at some of our Wednesday Wellness about the levels of wounds that you have that you didn't even know you had. Go listen to that. Go listen to some of our Wellness Wednesdays with the art suggestions. It's not homework. We're not school age. And even if we are, those are just things to help you out a little bit if you have difficulty speaking up. Make it count when you say to yourself, am I getting well? Someone wrote to me yesterday, I hope that you have really taken time off to get yourself well. Because I run around and I run around and I run around. And when I get sick, I'm really sick. How are we doing? Are we worrying about everybody else and dismissing ourselves because we aren't important enough? You know, going back to the butterfly, and I'm going to forever use this because I know you will get it. We look at the butterfly and we think, wow, the butterflies, they come in all different shapes and sizes. That's why little kids like to taste them like I was doing. Grown women, because I needed to look at that butterfly up close. And sometimes you get a chance to. And you see the variety, the variation of the butterfly. That's a representation when it comes to thinking about wellness, calmness, your journey. Because when you're doing that, don't you feel some sort of calmness when you're chasing that butterfly? If you've ever had that experience, and if you haven't had the experience, I ask that you have the experience. We've done a lot of wellness on childhood trauma. Whether it's blowing bubbles, blowing balloons, eating an ice cream, having a favorite snack, because many of you have not had that experience. Think about that. And you teach yourself because you feel embarrassed. You don't want anybody to know that you hurt. You don't want anybody to know that you've been through that. But that's transforming power when you say, I have been through something and I survived it. Let the butterfly remind you of its journey. It's on a healing journey and it doesn't even know it's on a healing journey. But your brain can tell you that you want to go on a healing journey because you know what it asks? Why am I hurting like this? I'm tired of hurting like this. I want to get better. That's the brain power that you have. Pick up your wings and fly. 5 years and connect with life. We're going to be right back with Trisha's Treasures in just a moment.
Cause we're called vibetalkfacingthelionpodcast. Go check your favorite streaming platforms. Feel free to be interactive and tell us your story. Like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, YouTube, and so much more. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Go give it a shot.
We're back. Vibe Talk, Facing the Lion podcast. 5 years in connecting. Why does it feel so bad? Taking a look back. Now we want to have Trish for Trish's Treasures. Trish?
I recall recording a moment of just sitting outside and listening to the birds, and I was just sitting on the bench, and then before I sat on the bench, I went to check out the flowers because it was the springtime. I went to check out the flowers, and as I was touching the flowers, a butterfly was literally like close to my hand. And on the video, I was like screaming. I was like, "Oh, it's a butterfly." I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a butterfly." Like I was so excited because I'd never seen a butterfly like that close before. Like personally, the first time I saw a butterfly that close was like when my little sister caught a butterfly. And that was the first time I've seen one like up close. But for me, that was a special experience for me. And as I think about it, it's like seeing yourself up close and checking out your self growth and seeing how much you've grown for a while, because it seems like you're trying hard and you feel like the progression is like far away, but when once you see yourself up close, it's like, Oh, I've actually evolved. I've actually grown. So, what was I talking about? Because I've been there before. It's like as I grow as a person, it's hard to see my growth because I'm so hard on myself sometimes. And it's like, it's hard to see the impact that I have, the positivity that I have, the growth that I have. And when I do see myself up close, which is, for example, of what I mean by seeing myself up close, I looked back at our old videos from like 2021 of when I was doing artwork in 2022. And I actually sat through my videos because usually I don't like listening to myself. I don't like seeing myself up close. And when I did that, I was like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. Like, what am I talking about? Like, what am I talking about? Like, it makes sense. Like, it's not what what I thought it was when I was recording it. And the thing is, I can see myself like having lots of fun doing it. And I enjoy doing Trish's Treasures. I enjoy doing artwork, especially artwork that will help other people and also help me. I enjoy doing that. And when I look back at my artwork, I did a journal review in my Trish's Treasures, and um it was reflection for me. That's another thing of seeing yourself up close. I was doing a journal review of the old journal journal entries that I wrote while being in Vibe Talk and doing artwork and expressions through art. And I was checking to see, do you still feel like that? Do you still feel that self-doubt that's like an elephant that's weighing you down on your bed? Do you still feel like you need that self-love academy, and because it's year round, it's school year round, because you need that every day? That's what I drew in my journal. I drew a self-love academy, and I wrote on the poster, um school is year round because you need self love every day. So that's what I wrote. And I was wondering, do you still feel like that? And that's good to ask yourself questions. That's a part of wellness as well. And it's a part of seeing yourself up close to see if there's some wounds in your wings or something that you need to heal from. And to see if there are some parts of you that are still stuck in the cocoon and that needs to um, grow or take time to transform, which is okay. But what I love about this 5 years and connecting is that we always have, whether it's 15 minutes or you guys spend an hour with us, or when you're taking time for yourself, it's always important that you can take time to reflect and connect with yourself. So if you think you're important, you are important. And once you realize your importance, uh, connecting with yourself and having access to your emotions and your feelings, you will realize that it is vital and it's very, very important. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate always on our look back, Trisha's Treasures. You can find Trisha's Treasures on our YouTube page. Yeah. Trisha's Treasure has been running now all this time, and we're looking so forward to more of it. So if you want to hear more of it, check out our streaming wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, iHeartRadio. What's our take home? discovery, growth. Everybody has something to learn from the butterfly. We can gain butterfly wings, although we all have them. We all have had them show up in times of our darkness. We learn through those wings that they've been through torrential weather. Some of it has not been weather permitting, but the butterfly didn't know that. You see that caterpillar is transformation to the beautiful butterfly that it's going to become. It doesn't change its own. Those are the healing parts when it becomes the butterfly, because that journey is going to go on for a time. And if I can just get you to understand how fragile life is, but yet how powerfully impactful your story is. But no one will ever know if you don't speak about it. So if you think that nothing phases you, I'd like for you to get well, be well, and stay well by thinking about and discovering those parts of you so that you can ask yourself or answer yourself, I know why it hurts so bad. That's our song today, by the way, by Whitney Houston. And we're going to be talking about more of 5 years and connecting. So make sure you guys are with us. Make sure that you have the number, our toll-free number. I'm so happy about this toll-free number, Trish. I cannot tell anybody how happy, I can't express, I should say, how happy I am about this number. 1-888-721-9260. That should be on our YouTube page as well. And you guys can call at any time. Let us know what you think. And we hope for somebody that they understand why it does hurt so bad. Thank you to my amazing co-host Trish. Thank you very much. Thank you to the audience from all over. I have been keeping up with you guys, some of the places that you're listening from, and I can't help but to notice the UK, Greece, Netherlands, France, Europe, Russia. Those are just the places farther out. But did you guys know we've been 5 years in connecting with the United States? Every country, every state we've touched. We thank you for that. Do us a favor. When you're telling us where you're listening from, be sure to include a heart. Let us know that you have heard that. That's all we ask. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love that. Trish works so hard for that. And by the way, Trish, thank you for bringing out the growth part, because the transition is really the growth. Between the caterpillar and the butterfly, there is growth. Thank you for connecting with us. 5 years. Because I don't want your chest to make
the moves, and then I got the vibe with it. I really took the time with it. I really love the ride with it. Really got the vibe with it. I took the time with it. I really love the ride with it. You can finally see a better you when you get the vibe with it. Yeah, when you get the vibe with it.